Hello and welcome everybody to another great episode of the Geek Tech Show. And if you're not a subscriber yet, you should definitely do so. Link right down below how to subscribe to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be starting with something I really love to do, which is photography. Specifically, what I'm going to be teaching you here is how to do amazing pictures with the M camera with nighttime photography. So this is my actual gear that I am actually using. And if you're not familiar with the M camera, it's a mirrorless camera, which doesn't use a mirror, and therefore it is much superior to a normal camera because it is so much small and it can actually take more light, and it doesn't actually need a special lens, because most lenses that you're getting with Canon, Nikon and everything else is not so slim in the package. So this makes it a great thing that you can take anywhere you actually want and get started with it. So when it comes to nighttime photography, there's a few essentials you need to do in order to master nighttime photography. You definitely need the sky to be super dark as possible. So you want to get away from nighttime pollution that happens in a lot of urban areas. So you want to drive out to the country to do so. Another thing is you actually need some kind of a tripod, and I have a tripod right here that I'm actually using. Tripod itself is great to posting the camera and being able to capture the shot that you actually want. Next thing is the lenses. So I have the M lens. This is 11-22 super wide angle kind of a lens. It's gonna let you get those amazing night shots, because if you're getting a zoom lens, yes, you can zoom, but you can't get these amazing pictures that you actually want with a zoom lens. It's much harder for you to actually get it done as well. Another thing that you need is the power. Another lens, that's right. So I have two different lenses for this. So this is the 11-22, but it has the resolution itself is not so great here. What I mean by resolution, I'm talking about the f-stop in this one, which is 4 to 5.6, which means there's not so much light coming in here. On the other hand, this is a prime 22mm lens, and with a prime lens, this specific one lets in a lot more light, which is 2.0 on the scale of the f-stop, which lets me get amazing kind of pictures. So this is definitely the next lens I'm going to be trying out, because this lens is just not as good as this one right here for what I'm doing. Because it is a prime lens, f22 is fixed, which means that you can't zoom in and zoom out. It only lets you do at 22mm and that's it. So that is one downside of this lens. On the other hand, the 22-11mm, you can zoom in and out with this one. But since I'm going to be using most of the time the f22 anyway, I might as well just go ahead and use all the way to 22mm with this lens. A few other essentials that you actually need for you to use is this. So this is actually a remote shutter release. With the remote shutter release, you can press it on, and this is instead of pressing on the button right here. What is the difference? For when you press the button right here, the camera is going to shake just a little bit, and this little shake is going to be more than enough to either break the focus, or of course it's going to move the camera slightly away from where you want it to be. So definitely the remote shutter release is something that is very handy, and I did add it right to it. So you need all those different kind of pieces of equipment for you to be able to do night photography. Why do I like the mirrorless for this example? One of the reasons why the mirrorless camera gives you the opportunity to view things from an angle. So you no longer have to view it just like this. You can now view it from the top as well. So it gives me an opportunity to actually station this the way I want. And another reason why the mirrorless camera, it is so much more small in size as well. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is showing you how I do manually things on this camera that you can do yourself in order to set this exactly how I want it to set on the Canon M mirrorless. Now you can use any kind of camera that you want to do the same exact things and effects and any kind of gear. But this is my setup for the Canon mirrorless M camera. So let's go ahead and set all the settings correctly on this camera. The first thing you need to do is to make sure the power is actually on. The next thing, a big mistake from amateurs, is make sure you remove the lens cap before you get started with photography. Another thing is to release the hold on the lens, which is right here. So you press on it, move it to the top, and then you keep moving until it gets to any of this. So it could be 11mm all the way to 22, but this is working right now. Once you do this, you go to the menu itself, and we have to do manual focus in the menu. To do manual focus, all you have to do is to press on MF right here, and let's press on set, press on MF, and now it is in manual focus. Next step you have to do is use your finger, and here is the ISO. Press on ISO, and we are going to be changing this to the ISO we need. Actually, the best ISO for us is 1600. Now you can also try this, attempt it at 800 ISO. Anything that is less or more than this is not going to work well. Therefore, this is the numbers that you should be focusing on. Next thing that you'll be setting is the f-stop. So let's press on the f-stop. Right now it is an f10. I suggest you try it anywhere between all the way the f4 all the way to f11 to f10. Anything bigger than this is not going to work well, and you have to experiment within this range between the f-stops. So f11 all the way to f4.0 is the ideal location for you to experiment this with. In fact, for most of the pictures that I took last night, it was an f8 that I did it with. And if it doesn't work and you don't get the results you want, you have to switch everything around. Next thing is the timer itself. So we have different timers for us to use here. Now, the timer, when you press on it, we can go ahead and change how many seconds is going to be on. But we need a long exposure for this to work correctly. So the one that I used last night was around 8 to 10 seconds. But I do suggest you can go all the way to 30 seconds, and it might be better depending on your f-stop that you'll be actually using. So if you use too much, it's not going to come out correctly. So 8 seconds to 10 seconds is probably the ideal amount that you want to test the waters with. A lot of it has to do with experimentation and trying different kind of numbers here until you get the perfect shot. So those are the 3 variations that I'm going to be working with: the ISO, the f-stop, and the seconds it's going to be actually opened with. Another thing that makes a big difference is the lens that you'll be using as well. Everything else in between doesn't make so much of a difference.